Yeah, it's a balance between, kind of, strict repetition,
Right.
to really build up that kind of familiarity, right?
Hmm.
And then we got to invest even more, right? You're starting to get bored even. Like I've done this already, like 5,000 times, like, but it's
Hmm.
still at the conscious level, right? Um, Now then, if you want to get to the second stage, which is proficiency, you got to go beyond that boredom. And boredom, I would say, when you say, you see students are like, oh, even yourself, like, I already did this, that is a really crucial point in the training, in this kind of conscious repetition, is that that's the threshold where you move from conscious to subconscious, right? Boredom is kind of the barrier between where it's just in your head. Yeah, I know, right? You think you know, my friend or grasshopper, but it hasn't burned deep enough into the subconscious, right? So where it where you can do it without that kind of deliberate focus, right? But without that deliberate focus, you'll never be able to drive it down, right? If you just did like 5,000 reps like this, like watching TV, right? Versus someone else who's really embodied and really focusing on, you know, the
Yeah.
latter, you're going to earn it, right? You're going to earn it. So it's not enough just to learn. You got to earn, right? Which means learn is like, receive, collect the knowledge. Oh, okay, I learned this technique. The earn part, I mean, that's the hardest part. That's the cooking part. That's the repetition. That's like where you got to overcome your impatience, your boredom, all the distractions, right? And let's say it takes 10,000 repetitions or 100, depends on the person, right? And what quality of repetition is it, right? If you're just kind of like, right? So in order to what, right? In order to go to the second level from familiarity to proficiency, which you can say is from the conscious. And one thing is actually conscious means you have to understand it, right? The name, the angle, that's already hard enough, right? But then to drive it to the subconscious, it requires really like integrating that focus, that intention, and nothing can replace, repetition. So this is what I like to say: not just high quantity, and not just high quality, like the perfect time. And you only did it once. So the name of the game is not low quantity of low quality. I mean, that's going to get you nowhere, right? Low quality and low quantity, like you just do something like, three times, very low level. Okay, what about, low quality, low quantity of high quality, right? You do it perfectly, but only 5 times. That's also not enough, right? So what about high quantity of low quality, right? I mean, that's okay. At least you're training. You may be training wrong. So I would say that's okay. That's second best. Low quality is not perfect, but you did a lot of it, okay? Because at least you have experience. And then at least we can make some tweaks. Does that make sense? Because some people say, oh, I didn't want to train it wrong. So, right? I would say
Yeah.
no one is training it perfectly, especially in the beginning. Just do it at your level. Do it wrong, train it wrong, make the mistakes. At least you're training, right? High quantity of so-so quality. That's okay, right? But of course, the best is when you get to a certain level is high quantity of high quality. Wow. Okay. And now you're moving into like the stage of mastery where you can self-correct, right? Where it's, like I said, it's coming from the inside out, right? And so both at the very technical level, or you're feeling as you're doing this ton, is it coming from your whole body? Are you grounded to the earth? Do you feel the ground, right? And if you're doing it as an application, can you also sense the timing and the position and the arms, right? The variables of the partner or the opponent, not just your own self, right? So in other words, you kind of have to develop this martial empathy, right? Like where you have to actually feel and be so sensitive, right? To not just your own interoception, your own inner state, right? Technical to, even musculoskeletal, right? Neurological, even your breath, right? But be able to project that onto and into another person. So, I mean, if you see 2 good dancers, partner dancing, like ballroom dancing, it's amazing, right? What they can do. But in the case of the martial, it's like, you don't want to dance with them for, 10 minutes, right? You want to be able to hone and train yourself, like really in a situation of true violent asocial self-defense, like where you use all of your sensitivity, all of your focus, all of your training to hopefully, within milliseconds, be able to end the situation in your favor, of course.